Hello, welcome to Laex Prelims. Welcome to Prelims Marathon session. In this session, we are going to discuss 17 important areas. Already we have recorded 4 sessions on this and this is our 5th session. In this session, we are going to discuss 20 important defense related issues in use. Remember, every year we are getting at least one question from this area, defense related developments. Our first topic is DRDO's developments in 2019. These are the 5 important developments that have happened under DRDO's leadership in the year 2019. Mission Shakti, quick reaction surface to air missile, arrest landing of LCA Tejas, beyond visual range air to air missile, which is called as Astra, and INS Khanderi P75. Let us discuss in brief about each of this issue. The first issue is Mission Shakti. It is India's anti-satellite mission. Last year, DRDO has successfully tested anti-satellite missile, and it has targeted a satellite located in low Earth orbit. And it was successful. There are only 3 countries which had this technology earlier: USA, Russia and China, and now India is the 4th country which has successfully tested the anti-satellite missile. Why is this significant? Because ASAT test or anti-satellite test gives us the deterrence, because our neighbor China has this particular weapon, and increasingly the war is going to move in new spheres: cyber warfare, space warfare, etc. So when cyber warfare comes, if we have to have an advantage over others, we should have this technology. That's why DRDO has tested this anti-satellite missile. And if we go to the specific details into this, India in this particular test has blasted our own satellite, which was dysfunctional. And we have targeted the satellite located in low Earth orbit at 300 kilometers height. And next time if DRDO does this kind of test, it is going to test the technology at higher heights like geostationary orbit or medium Earth orbit, right? This is again in news this year when DRDO recently tested the hypersonic technology demonstration vehicle. So then the discussion was on anti-satellite missiles, and this was also in news because USA has claimed that Russia is testing ASAT missiles. That is also one of the reasons why this is in news. And remember, Mission Shakti is the code name given for this specific DRDO's mission. It's not a generic name. Mission Shakti is given for this test that was conducted in February 2019. Next thing that was in news is quick reaction surface to air missile. Surface to air missile means it is tested or it is launched from the land and it targets the object in the air. So DRDO has tested this QRSAM missile along with Bharat Electronics Limited. It is for Indian Army. These missiles are launched from the tankers. And this was tested from Odisha's coast. Next important development in 2019 is LCA Tejas. LCA Tejas, Navy variant of LCA Tejas, was successfully arrest landed. Arrest landed means what? Navy has aircraft carriers like INS Vikramaditya. See, these aircrafts, they need to land here and they need to take off from this particular place. That means the runway for these aircrafts is very, very short. Runway is very short. So arrest landing means within the short range of runway, it should stop. Yes or no? So that test was successfully done last year, 2019. If we go into the details of LCA Tejas, the project of LCA Tejas, LCA, was given clearance in the year 1983. In 2001, the first test flight of LCA has happened, and this was renamed as LCA Tejas. LCA Tejas in the year 2003. In February 2019, as we said, LCA Tejas got final operational clearance from Indian Air Force. After that, Indian Air Force has ordered for 123 LCA Tejas aircrafts. Now, Navy version of LCA. Navy version of LCA was first tested in 2012 and first prototype was developed in 2014. In the year 2019, in the month of September, Arrest landing of LCA Tejas has happened. That's how Indian Navy said, yes, we are going to induct these LCA Tejas into our squadron. And who are the manufacturers of these LCA Tejas? Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. It is designed by DRDO's Aeronautical Development Agency. DRDO has many labs and Aeronautical Development Agency is one of the labs that has developed this LCA Tejas. There are few other points that we need to remember with regard to LCA Tejas. That is, this one is a single engine fighter jet. Single engine fighter jets. In general, most of the fighter jets or aircrafts, they consist of two engines, twin engines, because if one fails, other will be there. But here this is a single engine aircraft. It has delta-shaped wings, because of which it attains higher speeds. And LCA Tejas is considered one of the world's lightest aircraft. The name itself says light combat aircraft. World's lightest aircraft, this one is. And LCA Tejas, we are using Mark 1 version. DRDO has upgraded Mark 2 also. And Hindustan Aeronautical Limited is developing now this one, Mark 2 variant of LCA Tejas. It is a 4th generation or 4.5 generation aircraft. 4th or 4.5 version aircraft. See, the new Tejas. The new Tejas is Tejas Mark II. It is long awaited indigenous fighter aircraft. This will be manufactured by HAL and will be into production by 2025-26. Mark III is going to be the same weight of Mirage of France or Jaguar. So all these aircrafts are light aircrafts and heavy combat aircrafts, and our LCA Mark II is going to be of that weight. It is indigenously developed. And indigenously developed air-to-air missile Astra. Astra is indigenous air-to-air missile. These Astra missiles are going to be fitted into this Mark II LCA Tejas. Already we are using MiG-21 combat aircrafts. We are going to replace them by these LCA Tejas aircrafts. Already 123 aircrafts have been ordered by Indian Air Force. This is what is Astra. Just now we spoke about this. Yes, Astra. Astra is air-to-air missile. That means from an aircraft, we can target another aircraft using these missiles. This is our Mirage 2000 aircraft, combat aircraft. From that aircraft, we are targeting another aircraft using these missiles, Astra missiles. Earlier, we were using Meteor missiles. Meteor is a UK's missile, UK's air-to-air missile. We were using that. Now last year, air-to-air missile beyond visual range, air-to-air missile which has 70 kilometers range. Astra missiles has 70 kilometers range. This was successfully developed by DRDO. This is indigenously designed and developed by DRDO. And it is developed as part of Integrated Guided Missile Development Project, IGMDP. This was headed initially by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Under this project, there are 5 important missiles that are developed. Agni is one such, Agni, Prithvi, Astra, Trishul. Likewise, we have 5 missiles. Astra is part of IGMDP and it is an air-to-air missile. Very, very important. This can be fitted to Sukhoi MKI, Mirage 2000, MiG fighter aircrafts or to our LCA Tejas. The next issue that is in news in 2019 is INS Khanderi. INS Khanderi is a submarine that was successfully inducted into Indian Navy. And this is also in news. INS Karanj. INS Karanj is also a submarine. INS Khanderi is indigenously developed second submarine. INS Karanj is indigenously developed third submarine. There is a program called P75 Program. Under this particular program, India has planned to develop 6 conventional submarines. Under that project, we have already developed the first submarine and INS Khanderi is the second one, INS Karanj is the third one. So this third Scorpion class submarine, INS Karanj, was inducted into Navy in December. That was tested already. By December 2020, we are going to induct into our Indian Navy. And as we said, this is part of P75. See, Khanderi is our second Scorpion class submarine. This project has begun in 2005, completed in 2019. Khanderi is the name of Chhatrapati Shivaji's island fort, which is used for protecting the sea and trade routes. And Khanderi is a submarine name which we had earlier. So with the same name we have developed INS Khanderi. Now let's see what is this P75 program. Very, very important. There is another program called P75I. This is in addition to the 6 Scorpion class submarines. We want to develop more submarines under Strategic Partnership Model, SP model, which means we are going to include the private partners in developing these. Here I stands for India, domestic manufacturing, that is the meaning. Let us understand first about P75 program. P75 is the program of Indian Navy. Under that, 6 Scorpion class attack submarines have to be built, and already there is an agreement with French company called DCNS. With this company we have transferred the technology. That means, remember, under this program we are not developing the technology. We are buying the technology from this company, and using this technology we are just manufacturing it. We are manufacturing this, not designed in India, but manufactured in India under P75. Must go on Dock Limited. Here these submarines are built. Now P75 Scorpion class submarines are powered with conventional diesel electrical engines. Conventional diesel electrical propulsion system is used in these 6 submarines. Already INS Kalvari is built under this, INS Khanderi, INS Karanj. These 3 are already built. Sea trials are over. Already these 2, INS Kalvari and INS Khanderi, are in service. INS Karanj is going to be in service by this year end. Vela, Wagir and Vakshir, these 3 are under various stages of development. If we include these 3 also, total 6 submarines are under this program, P75 program. Under P75I, few more submarines are planned to be built. Now let us understand what is this diesel electrical propulsion system. There is one more word used here, that is called air independent propulsion system. Indian Navy said that for these 6 Scorpion class diesel submarines we are going to fit it with this air independent propulsion system. Let us understand what is this air independent propulsion, and let us also understand how these diesel submarines function. First of all, we should know the basic concept. Submarines are divided into 2 types. One is conventional submarine, which uses diesel to fuel the batteries. Submarines are run with the batteries, and diesel is used to charge the batteries. And second type of submarines are nuclear submarines. Here, nuclear reactors are there, and electricity produced through this nuclear reactor is used to recharge the batteries. So 2 types of submarines. In conventional submarines, which are called as diesel electric propulsion system, endurance is less. Endurance means the time period which the submarine can stay underwater. This endurance is less because for the diesel to burn, we need air. So for air, the submarine needs to come to the surface frequently. So endurance is less, but traceability means when it is underwater, the traces that it leaves are very, very less. So detecting this type of submarine will be very difficult from the enemy navy, etc. That's why traceability is less, endurance is also less. If endurance is less, if it comes out frequently, then in a warfare, will that be useful? No, not much. Yes, it is useful, there's no doubt. But this is one of the constraints. But if you take nuclear submarines, its endurance power is more because it uses nuclear power plant inside it. So it need not come out to get the air, right? So that's why endurance is more. That means it can stay underwater for many months together. So endurance power is more. But traceability is more. Traceability is more means what? It leaves a trail. Hot water from the nuclear power plant needs to be released out frequently. So when they release the hot water, it leads to a small sound that makes this submarine to be traced. So others can trace it easily. Now under P75 program, Indian Navy is thinking that what if we can combine the strengths of both conventional and nuclear submarine? That means endurance power should be more and traceability should be less. Yes or no? So for that, Indian Navy has proposed for this air independent propulsion. So a conventional submarine, if we can fit it with air independent propulsion, that means it doesn't require air for its propulsion. So if we can fit it with this, one, traceability will be less. Two, for the propulsion, it doesn't require air, so it need not come out frequently. So endurance would be more. So that's why air independent propulsion system is proposed to be fitted into the 6 Scorpion class submarines under P75 program and the future P75I program also. Here there is an interesting fact. Just now we discussed that under conventional submarines, we are taking the technology from French, right? So France company. But a nuclear submarine development program is completely indigenous. That means design, development, manufacturing, everything is indigenous. So the first nuclear submarine that India has built is INS Arihant. So let us see what is this INS Arihant briefly. INS Arihant is this submarine. We have inducted in 2016 itself. We have inducted this particular submarine. In the year 2019 November, India has formally declared it as nuclear triad. Triad means land, air, water. So we have nuclear capabilities from all three domains. That is called as nuclear triad. So INS Arihant has completed its first deterrence patrol. After completing this, only India has declared nuclear triad, but in principle, we have inducted it in 2016 itself. And do you know this fact? We said P75 is for conventional submarines. Similarly, we have this project called Advanced Technology Project. And this began in 1980s. Under this, we have developed nuclear-powered submarine called Arihant submarine. It was launched in 2009 and 2013. The nuclear power plant inside INS Arihant became critical. 2016, after many trials, we have inducted nuclear submarine INS Arihant. Now, INS Arihant can be fitted with different types of missiles. So it plays multi-role. The next important issue that is in news is regarding INS Viraat. INS Viraat is Indian aircraft carrier that got decommissioned in the year 2017. From that year, there were many proposals for converting it into a 5-star hotel or a marine sports activity hub or as a museum. But all these proposals, they didn't see the light of the day because there were few security concerns, there were monetary concerns. Because of that, we were unable to convert it into all these things. Because of that, recently Government of India has proposed to dismantle this particular INS Viraat aircraft carrier and sell the iron to the scrap. That is the proposal. Here we need to know some background regarding the aircraft carriers. The India's first aircraft carrier is INS Vikrant. This is our first aircraft carrier. INS Viraat is India's second aircraft carrier. These two we got from UK, United Kingdom. The United Kingdom used them. After some time, they have decommissioned them from their navies, and then we got them. INS Viraat is called as world's oldest aircraft carrier. This is also called as mother of aircraft carriers. Now, from UK we have bought it. We have commissioned it in the year 1987 and we have decommissioned it in the year 2017. It has played an important role during India-Sri Lanka peacekeeping force, or during the Kargil war period when there was a standoff between India and Pakistan. This INS Viraat had played an important role. Now, if we look at the present condition of India's aircraft carriers, we have only one aircraft carrier that is in service, that is INS Vikramaditya. And we are developing this INS Vikramaditya we have bought from Russia. Our INS Vikramaditya is inducted into the service in the year 2003, and this we bought from Russia. Now, INS Vikrant, which is our India's first aircraft carrier. The name is same as our India's first aircraft carrier, but this is called as IAC, Indigenous Aircraft Carrier 1. And India is also developing INS Vishal. This is Indigenous Aircraft Carrier 2. These two are under development. India is developing two indigenous aircraft carriers. INS Vikrant is under trials now. Maybe in the next few years, INS Vikrant will come into the service. INS Vishal is under developmental stages. Indian Navy has recently asked for third aircraft carrier also. During the standoff between India and China, Indian Navy has requested for third indigenous aircraft carrier, but as of now, INS Vikrant and Vishal, these two are the indigenous aircraft carriers that are under trials or under manufacturing stage, and INS Vikramaditya is in service. That's about 2019 related developments. Now let us come to 2020 developments. There are 19 important issues that we need to know. Let us start with this. Chief of Defence Staff. On January 1st, 2020, Indian government under Department of Military Affairs has created this post called CDS, Chief of Defence Staff. So this is a unified service command. This is to provide unified services. That means Indian Navy, Air Force and Army. These three have their respective chiefs. For better coordination, the government wants one single representative for Ministry of Defence. For that purpose, Kargil Review Committee in 2011, Naresh Chandra Committee in 2012, they have recommended for a unified service command under a particular leader, and we have named that post as Chief of Defence Staff. Chief of Defence Staff is a permanent office representing the three services. That is, tri-service representative is Chief of Defence Staff, and this department is newly created department under Ministry of Defence. And the functions of CDS include these things. Please read them carefully, very important. The next issue that is in news is Space Force of USA. Space Force of USA is the 6th command under Indian Armed Forces. US have Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, Marine Corps and Navy. These are 5 types of armed forces under USA. And now recently they have created the 6th arm called Space Force. That is for what? If there is any space war in future, there should be some dedicated manpower for that. For that purpose, USA has brought in this particular Space Force who are to be trained and in space war. As of 2020, USA is the only country with a dedicated independent Space Force. Earlier, Russia said it has a dedicated Space Force, independent Space Force, but they have included it under Russian Aerospace Forces. That means, as of now, only USA has a dedicated force. The next issue that is in news is K4 SLBM. SLBM means Submarine Launched Ballistic Missile. This is a type of missile which can be launched from the submarines. K4 is its name. K4, here K stands for Kalam. So K4 missile. Its operational range is 3,500 kilometers. And the length of this missile is 12 meters, width is 1.3 meters. They won't ask these things. They will ask about the range and the name. See, earlier we had K-15 missiles. K-15 missiles can be launched from the submarine and it can target a particular object within 750 kilometers range. Now, this K4 variant of SLBM, it can target an object within 3,500 kilometers range. This can be considered as the land. This is a Navy version of Agni 4 missile. Agni 4 missile also has similar range, and India is under the developmental stages of K5, which has the range above 5,000 kilometers. 5,000 kilometers. As of now, K4 missiles. K4 missiles are submarine launched ballistic missiles, which are the Navy variant of Agni 4 missiles. See, for example, if you see the range of this, it is very huge. Next issue that was in news is ballistic missile attack on Saudi Arabia. From Yemen, there is a drone attack which used the ballistic missiles to target certain places in Saudi Arabia. Korea's oil field, Bukak, and here Armaco. Armaco is a oil major company. So that company was targeted, and it is said that Iran is behind this particular attack. In this context, we should know what is this ballistic missile and the types of missiles. We need not remember Iran's ballistic missiles, but we need to know what are India's ballistic missiles. If we observe here, this is ballistic missiles path and this is cruise missiles path. Ballistic missile is, if it is launched from a missile launcher, it moves in parabolic path, and most of its path is in exo-atmosphere, that means outside the atmosphere, and it targets a specified object precisely. It comes down heavily and it targets the target precisely. But cruise missile, it doesn't follow any certain specified path. There's no fixed path for it, but it can trace and track the target. Let's say if the target is moving like a vehicle, something like that, it can target the object and it tracks the object and targets it. That's why cruise missiles are very important to target a moving object. Now, cruise missiles have in general less range as compared to ballistic missiles. Ballistic missiles can be targeted for large distances. For example, if you consider this word intercontinental ballistic missile. What is this intercontinental ballistic missile? If the ballistic missile has the range more than 5,000 kilometers, we call that missile as ICBM or intercontinental ballistic missile. So, ballistic missiles have huge ranges. In general, cruise missiles are quick and they are used for short distance targets. In India, we have Agni, Prithvi, these are all ballistic missiles. Astra is also a ballistic missile. Under cruise missiles, we have BrahMos, which is jointly developed by India and Russia, and Nirbhay, India's indigenous cruise missile. So this is about the differences between ballistic and cruise missiles. When this attack has happened on Saudi Arabia, USA said, "We are sending you the anti-ballistic missiles, don't worry." What is this anti-ballistic missile? Let's say the enemy country has launched a missile. If we have ABM system, under that system radars will be there. These radars detect the incoming missiles and sends the signal to the anti-ballistic system. In this, we have a missile which goes into this path and intervenes the path of the incoming missile and destroys it in the air itself. The missile intercepted gets destroyed. That's how we can protect from the incoming missiles. That is the mechanism of anti-ballistic missile system. Every country tries to improvise its anti-ballistic missile system to protect the country from the enemy missiles. Now, the next issue that is in news is India-USA defense deals. In the past 2 years, there were many defense deals that are made between India and USA. First one is MH-60 Seahawk helicopters, Apache helicopters, anti-guided missile Harpoons, and Mk-54 torpedoes. Torpedoes, Harpoons, these are for Indian Navy. Apache helicopters are for Indian Army as well as Indian Navy. Seahawk helicopters are for Indian Navy. That means if you consider the deals that are made in the past 1 year, most of the deals are related to Indian Navy, right? Now let us see what are these in brief. MH Romeo Seahawk and Apache helicopters. Details of them are described over here. Please go through it once. These two are used in combat operations, surveillance operations, right? These two are multi-purpose helicopters that we need to remember. Next one is Harpoon missiles. Harpoon missiles are targeted from the aircraft carrier to the air. Let's say there's some aircraft here. So to that we are targeting using this missile. That's how Indian Navy uses this Harpoon missiles. The next one is torpedo. Torpedoes are targeted against the enemy submarines. If there is any submarine here and we detected it, if it is underwater, we target that using these torpedoes. Torpedoes, very, very important. Torpedoes are used in submarine warfare. The next important issue that is in news is defense corridors. India is a net importer of defense equipment. Every year we import large amounts of equipment, and India is the second largest importer in the world. First country is Saudi Arabia. We are in the second place now in the last 2 years. Earlier we were largest importer. Now we are second largest importer. So we want to develop our own indigenous defense manufacturing. For that purpose, Union government in the year 2018 and 19, it has proposed to set up defense industrial corridors where defense manufacturing is promoted. For that purpose, we have identified certain nodes in Tamil Nadu and certain other nodes in Uttar Pradesh. These are defense corridors. What are the specific advantages of them? Indigenous production increases. It reduces the reliance on import. It promotes the exports of defense equipment. It provides direct and indirect employment to the people. And it promotes the private defense manufacturing in India and also MSME, startups, etc. These are the advantages of defense corridors, and this is one of the important steps towards defense indigenization. The next very important issue that is in news, which is useful for both prelims and mains, is defense indigenization measures. These are the policies that we had earlier. Now let us see what are the recent measures to promote defense indigenization in India. These are the 10 major steps taken by the government recently. First one is increase in the FDI, foreign direct investment through automatic route in defense sector, from 49% to 74%. Second measure is corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board. Third measure is separate capital budget allocated for domestic defense purchases in the year 2020-21. In the latest budget, they have separately categorized for domestic procurement. Next, defense industrial corridors are proposed in Tamil Nadu and UP, and this was announced in 2018-19 budget. Defense production and export promotion policy 2020. Naval Innovation and Indigenization organization was set up recently. Stringent portal, which mentions the requirements from the defense forces, and vendors can specifically see for the requirements and manufacture it. For that, Defense Ministry has launched this stringent portal recently. Defense or import embargo on 101 defense items was imposed starting from the year 2020 to 24. But in the next 4 years, these 101 items need to be procured only from Indian companies. So that kind of embargo was initiated recently. Strategic partnership model, which encourages the private and public cooperation in defense manufacturing, was taken up in the last 2 years. Defense procurement policy was proposed recently. These are the 10 major measures proposed to promote the defense indigenization in India. Let us observe some of the important points under Defense Procurement Procedure 2020. As we just said, this is to increase the defense indigenization. Indigenous content under various categories is increased by about 10% to support Make in India. To increase the local manufacturing, we have increased the indigenous content to 10%. And leasing as a new category has been added. New category of buy global manufacture in India has been added, right? See, there are various categories of procurement that the government sees before procuring something. We have our Defense Acquisition Council, DAC, Defense Acquisition Council headed by Defense Minister. This council approves the proposals for acquisition of various defense equipment. This approves for domestic as well as foreign acquisitions. Right? When they approve the defense acquisitions, they consider the items under these categories. By Indian design, developed and manufactured is one category. By Indian is another category. Buy and make India is another category. Buy and make. Buy global, make. These were the 6 categories that were existed earlier also. In 2018, we had the Defense Procurement Procedure. Defense Procurement Procedure 2018 has these 6 categories. These 3 are the latest added ones. Buy global and manufacture in India. That means buy the technology globally and manufacture the equipment in India. Lease Indian, lease global. These 3 are added recently. The next important measure that is in news under the indigenization measure is defense production export promotion policy. Earlier, we have discussed about procurement. Procurement means purchasing. Here, this policy is about production and export promotion. Under this policy, there are certain guidelines that are mentioned. There are certain goals that are mentioned. By 2020-25, government wants to increase the turnover of defense production to 1,75,000 crores, and we want to export the defense equipment worth 35,000 crores, and developing a competitive defense industry, reducing the import dependency, and increasing the export of defense products, encouraging R&D and innovation. These are all the various objectives of defense production export promotion policy. To achieve these goals, under this policy, these 8 strategies are mentioned. Procurement reforms, indigenization and support to MSMEs, optimization of resource allocation, innovation, etc. These are the strategies mentioned under this particular policy. Defense Production Export Promotion Policy 2020. The next measure under indigenization is Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization. This was recently started by Indian Navy under Defense Ministry. This is to encourage the incremental innovation in Indian Navy. What is the meaning of incremental innovation? Let's say if there is any innovation. So small additions are made over a period of time. That's how incremental innovations are made under this sector. For that, to consider various global examples, to consider the innovative ideas, this NIIO under Indian Navy was set up recently. Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization. The next important measure to promote defense indigenization is import embargo on 101 defense items. By 2024, we want to impose this embargo in a progressive way, not at a time, but over a period of time, few goods are added. Total 101 goods, defense items will be added to this list. The next important issue that is in news is Project Cheetah. Under this is a code-named project. Recently, during the border standoff between India and China, our Indian armed forces have proposed for this project. Earlier, this is a suggestion, but they have asked for it again. What is this? There are some unmanned aerial vehicles. According to the border rules, we can use this unmanned aerial vehicles for this surveillance in the border region. But these should not be fitted with the bombs, etc. because that might cause trust deficit. That's why in general we don't go for it. But our armed forces are asking for fitting the unmanned aerial vehicles with laser guided bombs, precision guided ammunitions, etc. So these UAVs are Heron. Heron is the name of the drone or unmanned aerial vehicles. These Heron drones are procured from Israel. So Indian Army wants them to be fitted with the bombs because of the standoff, etc. The next issue is INS Sachet. INS Sachet is very, very important because this is one of the good examples for Make in India initiative and indigenization in the defense technology. Recently, Defense Minister has commissioned ICGS, means Indian Coast Guard ship Sachet. This is India's first indigenously designed, built and developed, ship. This is offshore patrol vessel. This was indigenously developed. Sachet is the name. And there are total 5 Indian Coast Guard patrol ships that are in line. This is the first one among them. The next issue is sonic boom. What is this? When any object travels with speeds more than the speed of the sound, if it increases the speed suddenly, it can cause a shock wave. That shock wave is called as sonic boom. Sonic boom. So these aircrafts which run with Mach 1 or more than Mach 1, they cause sonic boom in the nearby areas. The next issue that is in news is THAAD Missile. Recently, USA said it is going to place THAAD missiles in South Korea because there's a huge conflict going on near South China Sea there also, and in Saudi Arabia. USA said we are going to place THAAD missile system. Just now we discussed anti-ballistic missile system, you remember? So THAAD is one of the anti-ballistic missile systems. THAAD full form is Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. This is a transportable ground-based missile defense systems. Let's say something is coming in, it tracks, detects and neutralizes it. It uses all kinds of defense systems. It can be used to protect the Air Force, Navy, and then ground-based systems. That's why this is very, very important. This missile defense system can be interoperable with all platforms. And THAAD missile system belongs to which country? It is USA's missile defense system. These are some of the features of THAAD missile system. Please go through it once. The next issue is India-China's nuclear capabilities. When there is a standoff between the two countries, there was a talk about use of nuclear weapons. And recently, there is this institute called Stockholm Peace Research Institute. That institute has released the number of warheads, nuclear warheads, that each country possesses. If we look at that statistics, Russia and USA both combinedly, they have 90% of all nuclear warheads in the world. And China has 320 approximately. India has 150. That means we have half of the nuclear warheads as China. But if we compare the other areas of military capabilities, in most of the things, India has less as compared to China. So please go through this table once. But tell me this. Can we use nuclear weapons in spite of so many issues? Did we ever use nuclear weapon against Pakistan? No. Can we use nuclear weapon against China? No. Can we use nuclear weapon against Nepal? No. Why? Because we have a doctrine called India's nuclear doctrine. We cannot use it first. We have a policy called no first use policy. If others are not threatening for the use of nuclear weapon, our policy prohibits us for the first use. That's why no first use policy is there. We can't use in the first time. So we have developed our nuclear weapons after this test, 1998 Pokhran test. In 2003, we have bought this particular policy, India's nuclear doctrine. It has 4 important policy measures. No first use policy, massive retaliation, credible minimum deterrence, nuclear command authority. Nuclear command authority is headed by Prime Minister. There is an executive committee which recommends for the use of nuclear weapon. Right? See, this nuclear doctrine prohibits us for the first use. That you should remember. And there's one more issue that is in news. What is that? USA claimed that China might have tested nuclear weapon in its nuclear test site. That's news. So what is China's nuclear test site? The site name is Lopnur test site, that is near to Mongolian desert. In India, what is the test site? In India, Pokhran in Rajasthan is the test site for nuclear detonation. The next issue that is in news is Mountain Strike Corps. What is this Mountain Strike Corps? What is Mountain Strike Corps? This is a specialized force which is specifically trained for mountain warfare. So that's called Mountain Strike Corps. We already have this. We already raised battalions under that. The creation of Mountain Strike Corps was cleared in 2013 itself. But recently budget cuts were there for this Mountain Strike group, etc. With regard to China, we have this advantage. China's capabilities in Mountain Strike are comparatively less, but we have this. That's one of the advantages. That's why during the standoff between India and China, so increasing budgets for Mountain Strike Corps is proposed. So these Mountain Strike Corps are considered as integrated battle groups. That means they themselves are self-sufficient. They themselves are self-sufficient. In general, army needs to be backed up with air force or navy, etc. But these are self-sufficient. And there is this doctrine called India's cold start doctrine. Cold start doctrine means quick mobilization of the forces. What is this quick mobilization of forces? During Kargil warfare, during Kargil standoff, to mobilize Indian defense forces, it took many weeks. So in that context, after that Kargil standoff, it is proposed for quick mobilization of armed forces. That strategy or that doctrine is called as India's cold start doctrine. Integrated battle groups IBG provides for fulfilling the objective of India's cold start doctrine. And Special Frontier Force, this is also in news, yes or no? Recently, a soldier belonging to this particular Special Frontier Force who has mattered recently was given a official funeral, public official funeral. So that's why this was in news. What is this Special Frontier Force, by the way? After India-China war, so this Special Frontier Force was gathered, and this Special Frontier Force earlier had only Tibetans. Later it is a mix of Tibetans and Gorkhas. These people are part of the Special Frontier Force. It comes directly under Cabinet Secretariat, and it is also known as Vikas Battalion. And now these Special Frontier Force units are not part of Army directly, but they function under the operational control of Army. The next issue that is in news is Marich. Marich is an advanced torpedo decoy system. This has also been indigenously developed by DRDO. What is this? Torpedo is a missile launched to target the submarines. Yes or no? Just now we have discussed. So this is a advanced torpedo decoy system. This is something similar like anti-ballistic missile system, which detects the incoming missile and traces it, destroys it. Similarly, underwater, this helps the same way. Bharat Electronics Limited has developed this particular system. Spice weapon systems. When there's standoff between India and China, we have ordered many missiles, bombs, etc. from various countries, from Israel, from France, from UK, from Russia, from USA, etc. We have asked for quick delivery of various defense equipment and missiles, etc. Among them, Israeli Spice weapon system is one of the things. Spice 2000 is a powerful bomb which has a precision guidance system. These are also called as smart bombs because they can reach a particular target. They can track an object and reach a particular target. That's why these are called smart bombs. These are imported from Israel. We have ordered for more spice bombs during the standoff period. And do you know? These spice bombs were used during Balakot airstrike. 2019, when we did this Balakot airstrike, we used Israeli spice bombs from Mirage 2000 aircraft. The next issue that is in news is S-400 defense system. S-400 is a defense system which is developed by Russia, China, Turkey, India. Likewise, there are many other countries which are interested in S-400 defense system. Already China has bought this system from Russia. India has made an agreement with Russia. By next year end, by 2021 end, we might receive S-400 defense systems. What is this? This is similar to anti-ballistic missile system. S-400 is considered one of the world's powerful defense missile systems. That's why many countries are interested in it. USA has imposed a sanction on countries not to import this system from Russia. But India said that's in our national interest. We are going ahead with the purchase of S-400 system. And recently during the standoff, China has deployed this S-400 defense system near LAC. That's why this is in news. The next issue that is in news is aircrafts. There were many aircrafts that are in news. Sukhoi, MiG helicopters, MiG aircrafts, and then our Su, MKI. So these are all in news. So please read about it once. Need not go through it in detail, but just read about it. This is MiG-29 system. MiG-29 system is purchased by India from Russia. And this is Mirage 2000. Mirage 2000s are purchased from France, developed by the Dassault Aviation, which is a manufacturer of Rafale aircrafts also. The next very important aircraft is Rafale aircraft. This is in news. From last 2 years, this is in news. Recently, Indian Air Force has received 5 Rafale aircrafts, and these are inducted into Ambala Air Station of Haryana. So what are the specifications of Rafale aircraft that we need to know, right? So air-to-air, beyond visual range missiles are fitted to it. So Meteor, long air-to-air missiles can be fitted to it. Likewise, there are many specifications to it. We need to know about them. These are capable of ground support, aerial reconnaissance, in-depth strikes, interception, nuclear deterrence, because these can be fitted with nuclear weapons also. The final issue in this session is hypersonic missiles. Last year, Russia has said that we have developed hypersonic missiles called Avangard and Kinzhal. Avangard and Kinzhal, these are Russia's hypersonic missiles. What is the meaning of hypersonic missile? Hypersonic means the missile which can travel with more than 5 Mach. Mach means the unit of the sound of speed. If a spacecraft or if an aircraft can travel with more than 5 Mach speed, that is considered as hypersonic aircraft or hypersonic missile. Yes? So they said we have hypersonic missiles, and recently this is news because India has tested hypersonic missile technology. We have just gone for technology demonstration. We didn't develop the missiles yet. We just developed the technology. Right. Recently DRDO has tested it and we have achieved Mach 6. Mach 6 means 6 times the speed of the sound. And at an altitude of 30 kilometers, we have tested it and it has achieved hypersonic speeds. We have used scramjet engine over here. What is the meaning of scramjet? Scramjet is an advanced version of ramjet. So let us know about the meaning of scramjet and ramjet in brief. Right, what is ramjet and what is scramjet? Ramjet and scramjet, these are all two variants of engines. That's it. These are all. Ramjet and scramjet are types of engines. This is an engine. This is also an engine. Ramjet engine uses the propulsion with the incoming air. So that is why this is called as air breathing propulsion. That means it takes the air from the atmosphere and by compressing this air, it propels faster. That's why it is called as air breathing propulsion system. Air breathing propulsion system. Here also scramjet uses air breathing propulsion system. Using this air, they move faster. See, they require air, one, to burn the fuel, yes or no? To burn the fuel, they require the oxygen, that is air. And to move faster, to achieve higher speeds, they require the air. Here also, air is used to burn the fuel, that is for combustion, and to achieve the higher speeds. And remember, ramjet, scramjet engines, they work better, they work efficiently when they are moving with higher speeds. In general, ramjet engines work better at speeds greater than or equal to 3 Mach. Scramjet engine can travel at very high speeds. It can travel at greater than 5 Mach speed. That is why to achieve hypersonic speed, which engine do we use? We use scramjet engine. But remember, in both of them, they require external initial propulsion. They require external thrust. That means they work better, they work well only when they are in the motion. That means to move up, they require the initial thrust, yes or no? So that's why both of these engines, they require external thrust. External thrust is required for scramjet and ramjet engines. That means they can be used in launch vehicles, they can be used in missiles, but they require external engine at the first stage. That's why ramjet, scramjet engines, they work better when they are used in the second stage or third stage of the launch vehicle or missiles. But when we have scramjet or ramjet, what are the specific advantages? Why do we need to use them? Apart from higher speeds, why do we need to use them? So it saves the power, so cost would be less and within a short period of time. So defense wise, if we look at it, within a short period of time we can chase the targets and tracking them would be very difficult. That's why it provides advantage in defense and it is cost effective. These are all two advantages with ramjet and scramjet. Scramjet means supersonic combustion ramjet. That is the full form. Supersonic combustion ramjet. Now, please go through this image once. Only 3 countries, USA, Russia and China, these 3 countries have this hypersonic technology. India is the 4th country to have this technology. Very important. Please go through it carefully. And this is about this session. As we said initially, we are going to have 17 sessions like these in our prelims marathon session. Every day we are going to upload one video. Thank you very much. If you have any queries, questions regarding this, please let us know in the comment section. All the very best.